I have been part of churches where this thing was actually there and it was so incredibly wonderful, but then I've seen this thing go missing in action, and suddenly I see people who used to work together with joy be at odds with each other. I've seen tensions and conflicts begin to develop that could have been, should have been, in the name of Jesus, overcome. But because this thing was missing, it all began to fall apart. And it's almost like when it left, the presence of God seemed to go too. Something's missing in our world, it seems like. And now we're officially in the Christmas season. And you know, I think it's fair to maybe boil it down to this. Christmas is about God sending in flesh and blood the missing ingredient to the planet. And Christmas is really, in a very powerful way, all about God looking down and seeing that something was just missing, and it was just ruining everything. And he said, I'm going to wrap this missing thing up in a human body, and I'm going to send it into the world so it doesn't have to be missing anymore. Maybe that's what Christmas is actually all about, because this one thing, this one missing ingredient, it looks small. It almost looks incidental. It almost looks peripheral. But this one little thing, once embraced, makes a world of difference. Because nothing shapes the human heart like this one thing. This one thing has a way of keeping people together no matter how hard things may become. This one missing thing has the power to mend hearts and reconcile relationships in families, in churches, in society, in the world. This one thing could bring nations together. This one thing. And the Christmas story is really a story about this one thing. Now, normally when we talk about the Christmas story, we go to like Matthew's gospel, his story about Jesus, or we go to Luke's gospel, his story about Jesus, because they both kind of start in the beginning, right? Angels, virgin, pregnant by God, born in a stable, decree of Caesar Augustus, shepherds coming, angels singing, all that kind of stuff. That's fascinating. John, in his story about Jesus, doesn't start that way. It's almost like John goes, okay, I have a story that I want to tell, and I want you all to know it, but I've got to make sure right up front you get my main points. Because they're really hard to believe. They're absolutely counterintuitive. And maybe you won't read the whole story, so I want to share with you right up front. And then as the story unfolds, if you read it, I want to show why it is that these are really the main points about this Jesus, about this baby come, born, manger, grew, live, man, miracles, die, resurrect. I don't want you to miss the main points. And here are his main points. He said, I want you to make sure that you get this. He said, the first thing, I want you to know this about Jesus. The first point. He was full of grace. Jesus is full of grace. See, he says this in John chapter 1 and verse 14. He said, the Word became flesh. You might remember when he started the chapter, he said, in the beginning was the Word. And the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And then the Word became flesh, and then He's dwelling amongst us. He's talking about Jesus, and he refers to Jesus by the term Word. It's because John was basically writing to the world at large that was steeped in Greek thought and philosophy. And the Greeks had a passionate curiosity about some sort of explanatory message that would make sense of the totality of life. And as they searched philosophically for this one explanatory message that would make sense of everything we see in life, they called it the Logos. They called it the Word, the clarifying statement. And basically John is going, we found the clarifying statement that makes sense of everything. It's the Logos. It's the Word. It's Jesus. And this message that finally makes sense of everything. He became a person and he dwelt among us. And we have seen His glory, the glory of the one and only. And we get to that part of the verse and we go, okay, and what? But the people who first got this letter from John, they went, the Word became flesh and made His dwelling among us, and we saw His glory. They went, you got to be kidding me! It probably took their breath away. Because you see, their conception of God was that God was a touch me and you die God. Touch me and you die God. Remember way back when God first, set all of the slaves free from Egypt, and He took them over into the desert of Mount Sinai to give them His laws to make a nation. God said, I'm going to be on the top of this mountain and I'm going to meet with you. And all the people said, hey, no way we're climbing that mountain. No way. Because if we come in contact with God, we die. And then later on, they built a box. And in that box, they put in a pot of manna, the stuff that God gave them to eat in the desert, and the rod that Moses used to do a lot of miracles, and the 10 Commandments, second edition. Read Exodus, you'll get that. It's 10 Commandments, and that was symbolic of the presence of God. And here's the deal: nobody could touch the box. If you touch the box, you die because God was in there. And then later on, they built this incredible structure called the temple on the top of a mountain in the city of Jerusalem. And inside that temple, there were holy places, and the very central part of it was called the Holy of Holies. And this is where, they put that ark and a couple other things, and it was representative of the presence of God. And nobody could go in there except one guy once a year in order to offer a sacrifice. And you know how scary this was? They would tie a rope under the ankle of that guy when he went there. In case he died, they could drag him out. Because God is a touch me and you die God. He was a see me and you die God. He said to Moses in Exodus chapter 33 and verse 20, no one can look on me and live. And they have this conception. God, the other one, the supreme, all power, all purity, all everything. He's a touch me and you die God. He's a see me and you die God. And here's John going, He inhabited a body and He walked around and we saw Him and heard Him and we touched Him and He touched us. And the audience must have been going, dude, John, who was that like? Was it like He walked around and people looked at Him and they just felt like flies? Dying everywhere? Was He like a bug zapper? When you reach out and you touch Him, and you're over? I mean, what was it like? Was it like if anybody had a sinful thought when they were around Jesus, lightning came down, paf, a little smoky thing, and they were gone? What is it like for a touch me and you die, see me and you die, God, to suddenly be around? And John goes, I told you this was hard to believe. He was full of grace. Truth. That made no sense. Don't you mean full of law and truth? Makes sense. Don't you mean full of judgment and truth? Totally get it. Don't you mean God of holiness and truth? I'm with you there. Full of grace and truth. John goes, I told you it was hard to believe. Grace. Undeserved favor. Grace. Not giving me what I deserve, but instead what I desperately need. Grace. Back in Holland, pre-Enlightenment, centuries ago, it was an environment where kind of politics and religion got all merged and kind of mucked up, and there was an official religion that they were all supposed to have, and if you didn't kind of abide by that particular religion, then you were basically, questioned and ostracized and sometimes, imprisoned.